So I want to say something about one problem with this format that I and everybody else are using here. It's about my face. It's also about Marshall McLuhan and the individualism of liberal narrative habits. I'm not throwing shade on anyone, and I sure don't have any answers, but I do want to name something we have to deal with that might also be a hole we're digging ourselves more deeply into, and it's the problem of the ubiquitous floating head trying to make contact with the individual scroller. So the floating head must project charisma and magnify parasocial entanglement and must be illuminated by eccentricity as opposed to coherence. Now, these things aren't bad in themselves, but they reinforce another tendency, which is the structural emphasis on the individualistic, episodic, and disposable nature of takes. I came to this through this 1991 book by political scientist Shanto Iyengar called Is Anyone Responsible? How Television Frames Political Issues, in which he makes a distinction between what he calls episodic and thematic framing to demonstrate how television news locates public attributions of responsibility for social problems in individual sources. Adding to McLuhan's observations about visual media dominated by faces and solo performances, Iyengar says that the screen emphasizes the episodic narrative, which is built on personal accounts and isolated case studies. That individualization shining through the unique face immediately puts us into the mode of sussing out personal vibes and attractiveness and therefore credibility. So the skill of the creator, including me, is in using the tools of individual differentiation, even while talking about Marxism. Now, this all seems very natural, but it also strengthens what liberalism already teaches about the primacy of individual self-expression, that we are all gathered here in the public square, that's open to us all, and that we're each freely contributing to democracy. But every element of content and form that emphasizes the individual take also contributes to the hamster wheel feeling of constantly spinning stories that seem disconnected, like countless small fires burning in a forest. Now, I've talked about how Jody Dean's formulation of communicative capitalism undercuts the premise that social media enhances democracy because our reels are commodified and circulated to benefit capital, not the ideas themselves. This problem of the face goes a little bit further to say that a parade of one selfie sermon after another can only heighten the individualistic marketplace vibe. One of the uneasiest feelings I have when scrolling is this sense of instantaneous judgment, the feeling that I have to dismiss face after face instantly, or I'm wasting my time. And that's functionally true, but I also think it's morally injurious to any sense of collective generosity. What am I looking for? Education and perspective, but also the most pleasing affect, the face that either mirrors my own or shows me something perfectly new. So I don't want to be a connoisseur of faces giving selfie sermons when what's really needed is for me to listen for the choir singing about the shared condition of the 99%.